Shocking. Poor Maid saves billionaire CEO at 3 a.m., but his wife's dark secret haunts them both. The clock ticked ominously, its sound echoing through the sprawling mansion like a heartbeat in the silent night. At 3 in the morning, the world outside was dark and still, but inside, the air felt charged, as if it crackled with electric tension. On a night that would forever alter fates, Clara, the unassuming maid, found herself thrust into a scene so shocking it could only be described as cinematic. She stood by the window, her heart racing, breath shaky. Below, the faint outline of figures stumbled, desperate and frantic. It was Noah Richards, the billionaire CEO known for his cutthroat business deals and sharp charm. Now gasping for air, terror etched on his face. What could have pushed him to this brink? Clara's instincts kicked in. Without thinking, she raced down the grand staircase, the marble cold beneath her bare feet. As she burst through the front door, a rush of chill air hit her, a stark contrast to the dangerous warmth radiating from Noah's fraught expression. "Help me," he gasped, eyes wide and wild. The weight of that pleading look pinned Clara in place, a tightness forming in her chest. How could she possibly help someone like him? As she reached for him, a shadow loomed at the edge of the property. Was it just her imagination, or did it feel like a dark presence watched them both, just waiting? Then a flicker of movement caught her eye of figures standing in the shadows, observing, with eyes that sparkled with malicious intent. Clara's heart thudded louder. Was it Noah's wife? What secret had driven them all to this moment, twined together by fear and desperation? The tension felt suffocating, thick like fog, wrapping around them. Before we continue, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Clara pulled Noah to his feet just as the wind howled, a sharp reminder of the storm brewing outside, or maybe within the walls of that mansion. There was no time to think. He was gasping, prone to collapse again. But as she supported him, she caught a glimpse of the fear in his eyes, a haunted look that told her this was far from a simple accident. The air felt thick with secrets, the kind that could drown even the richest man if they were set free. Clara's pulse raced. What was happening here? What lay buried in the shadows? Tonight, Wood and Tea just changed their lives. It would unearth a web of deception they never asked to unravel. And as her heart pounded and Noah's breaths grew shallow, Clara knew one thing for certain. They were not alone in this nightmare. Noah leaned heavily against Clara, struggling to regain his breath. The adrenaline pumping through her veins mixed with a rising panic. "We have to get inside," she urged, her voice trembling as she turned her gaze toward the shadows once more. The figure was still there, lurking behind a tree, watching intently. Clara's heart raced. Who was it? And what did they want? She couldn't dismiss the feeling that this was no random occurrence. Something sinister loomed around them, a threat unseen but palpably present. As they stumbled back into the mansion, Clara bolted the door behind them, the sound echoing like a distant gunshot in the now quiet halls. "Clara!" Noah's voice was a hoarse whisper, and she turned to see him leaning against the wall, his face ashen and lined with sweat. "You don't understand. She'll come for me." With wide eyes, Clara searched his face, the weight of his words pressing against her chest. Who was he talking about? His wife, Olivia? Perhaps she was the figure in the shadows, stalking them like a predator. Who? Clara demanded, feeling the heat of determination push through her fear. Who will come for you? Noah staggered to the nearest couch, collapsing onto the upholstery as if it were the only thing anchoring him to the ground. Olivia. She is not who you think she is. His eyes darkened, a veil of sheer dread clouding them. She is involved in something dangerous, and I was too late to stop it. What do you mean? Clara's heart thundered in her chest, her hands clammy at her sides. She could practically taste the fear in the air. A series of deals, things that should have never happened. I tried to pull out, but she wouldn't let me. I had to escape before it was too late. He forced himself to sit up, reaching for her hand, but she flinched away. After what just happened outside, maybe you're not telling me everything. You can't just expect me to help you without knowing what I'm actually dealing with. A chilling silence fell between them as Noah's hands trembled. The shadowy figure outside was one thing, but the uncertainty swirling the air around them rapidly became another threat entirely. I never thought she would resort to this. She has people, dangerous people. His breath quickened at the mention of her name, as if it hung in the air like a curse. I can't let her find me. Clara felt the walls pressing in. What had she gotten into? Was she now part of this twisted secret? The idea terrified her, heart pounding against her ribcage like a caged bird desperate to escape. Just then, a loud crash echoed from the back of the house, rattling the windows. Clara's stomach dropped. Someone or something was trying to get in. Panic twisted her gut. Noah shot to his feet, each step a struggle as he lunged toward the sound. "Stay behind me," he ordered in a fierce whisper. The remnants of his previous panic now morphed into something determined, urgent that Clara's instincts flared as adrenaline coursed through her. She didn't want to follow him deeper into the storm of chaos, but standing still felt like a death sentence. As he reached for the door leading to the kitchen, she quickly grabbed a heavy candlestick from the nearby table, gripping it tight, ready for whatever came next. "Are you ready?" he asked, glancing back at her, uncertainty warring with desperation in his dampened eyes. She nodded, her heart in her throat, knowing that whatever awaited them could change everything. The crash came once more, louder, more forceful. The kitchen door buckled under the pressure. Clara's mind raced. The figure in the shadows? Olivia? Those dangerous people he spoke of? "Here we go," Noah whispered, pushing the door open just as another deafening bang resonated through the air. They were on the brink of something monumental, and neither was prepared for what lay waiting on the other side. What had they really awakened? Clara's grip tightened on the candlestick, and with one final breath, she burst through the door beside Noah, ready to face the unknown. The kitchen lay cloaked in shadows, the air heavy with an unsettling quiet. Clara hesitated for a split second, her breath hitching. The sound that had sent a shiver down her spine was replaced by a stillness that hinted at danger lurking just out of view. Noah took a steadying breath, his eyes narrowing as he stepped into the room first. Bright moonlight sliced through the grimy windows, casting eerie shadows that danced across the floor. Clara followed, her candlestick raised, heart racing. Every nerve in her body screamed for her to turn back, but fear's grip propelled her forward. "Where are you?" Noah muttered under his breath, scanning the corners of the darkened room. Clara's eyes darted around, searching for movement, for anything alive in the suffocating silence, when a loud crash. The window behind them shattered, sending shards of glass flying. Clara instinctively raised her arm, shielding her face as she reflexively moved closer to Noah. They both jumped, hands trembling. "Did you see that?" she gasped, her voice no louder than a whisper. "I don't know," Noah replied, urgency seeping into his tone. "It might have been a branch or an intruder. We need to." Before he could finish, a hooded figure slipped through the broken window, gliding with an unsettling purpose. Clara's breath caught in her throat as a glint of metal caught the moonlight. A knife! The figure was armed. "Noah!" Clara screamed, her heart pounding in her ears. She swung the candlestick instinctively. It connected with the figure just as he lunged toward Noah. The metal clanged against the candlestick, the sheer force knocking her off balance and sending her sprawling to the floor. "No!" Noah shouted, lunging forward, but it was too late. The figure had recovered, now focusing all their attention on him. Clara's mind raced. She needed to act to help Noah, but fear paralyzed her. The intruder darted forward, thrusting the knife. Clara watched in horror as Noah stumbled back, narrowly dodging the attack, but not without a deep cut across his arm. The sight of blood made Clara gasp. Rage ignited within her. "Get away from him!" she screamed, scrambling to her feet, her grip tightening on the candlestick once more. She swung it again, desperation fueling her strength. This time, she aimed for the intruder's legs, determined to take them down. The intruder howled, momentum lost as they fell. Noah took advantage of the moment, recovering his balance, his expression fierce. "Clara now," he shouted, urging her to keep going. In one swift motion, she swung, and this time the candlestick connected with the figure's head, knocking them completely off balance. The intruder crumpled to the floor, disarmed, panting, and Clara could finally see their face. "Olivia," she gasped, the realization striking her like lightning. This was Noah's wife, the woman he spoke about, a ghost made flesh. But the light in her eyes was feral, madness flickering just beneath the surface. "Stay away from him," Olivia hissed through gritted teeth, lunging for the knife again. This time, Clara didn't hesitate. She stomped down on Olivia's wrist, a sickening crunch echoing in the stillness as the blade clattered to the ground. Noah stood beside her now, pain etched across his features as he pressed a hand against his bleeding arm. "Clara, we can't let her get up." Together, they forced Olivia back against the kitchen counter, the balance of power shifting with each passing second. But even as they held her there, Clara could feel the air grow thick with more than just tension. It was a darkness, an unspoken secret that tied them all together. Olivia thrashed against their hold. A chilling smile broke across her bloodied lips. "You think this is over? You have no idea what's coming for you," Clara and Noah exchanged a worried glance. What did that mean? What dark reality awaited them now? Suddenly, the lights flickered, illuminating the kitchen one last time before plunging them into darkness. And through the chaos, a soft, ominous laugh seeped from the shadows, wrapping around Clara like a choking vine. What? Had they truly unleashed? The ground felt unsteady beneath her, and the hair on the back of Clara's neck stood on end. "Clara!" She jolted at Noah's voice, pulling her back to the present. They stood on the edge, teetering into an abyss, where the true nightmares began to unfurl. And just then, another sound echoed from somewhere deeper in the mansion, a door creaking open, heavy footsteps advancing. What awaited them beyond the kitchen's threshold? The deeper shadows of the mansion were coming alive, and Clara knew one thing for certain. They were far from safe. The darkness seemed to stifle them, pressing against Clara's chest like a weight. She couldn't see Noah, couldn't see Olivia, only the faint outline of the kitchen counter where they struggled. The ominous laughter echoed once more, wrapping around them, pulling them deeper into a dread they couldn't escape. The creaking noise intensified, heavy footsteps approaching from the hallway. Clara's heart raced, pounding against her ribcage with each fleeting second. "Noah," she whispered, panic threading through her voice. "What is that?" His reply was barely a whisper, but filled with urgency. "We need to move. We can't stay here." He gripped her arm, pulling her toward the door, but she hesitated, her eyes darting back to Olivia, still writhing on the floor. There was an unsettling mixture of dizziness and clarity as the reality of their situation crashed over her. "Olivia, what's wrong with you?" Clara demanded, the words bursting from her lips. Did this madness stem from the pain? The darkness enveloped them, but clear desperation lingered in Olivia's eyes. "Run!" Olivia screamed, her voice a broken whisper, splintering as she struggled against their grip. "You think you can win? You think you're safe?" It was more than a plea. It felt like a warning. A revelation danced at the edge of Clara's mind, but the weight of dread suffocated the thought before it could fully form. Noah steadied himself, his expression grim. "We have to go." Just then, the footsteps stopped, a deep silence stretching across the air. Clara felt a chill crawl down her spine. She stood frozen, scanning the darkened doorway, searching for movement. Then, a figure emerged from the shadows, tall, imposing, silhouetted against the flickering light from the kitchen. The man stepped forward, and, as he did, the dim light caught a glint on the surface of something in his hand. A gun. No, Clara gasped, her breath catching. It felt like time froze, fear pinching at her lungs. Noah turned violently, positioning himself between Clara and the intruder, muscles tense. "Put the weapon down," Noah shouted, voice steady but laced with fear. "You don't want this." The stranger chuckled, the sound low and menacing. "Oh, but of course I do. You see, I was invited to this little party, and I can't leave until I've dealt with both of you." "What do you mean?" Clara's voice trembled as she edged closer to Noah, her heart hammering in her chest. The world outside felt like an endless nightmare, with its shadows coming for them. Olivia's little escapade didn't go as planned, he drawled, a twisted smile spreading across his face. His eyes seemed to darken, radiating a threat that sent icy tendrils of fear curling around her. Noah remained steadfast, but Clara could see the determination wavering in his stance. Together, they had only moments to react, and every second felt like an eternity stretching over thin ice. "What do you want?" Noah challenged, but his voice lacked conviction. The man gestured dismissively, his eyes lazily scanning the kitchen, landing back on Olivia. "That's no concern of yours. Just know that the game has changed. What awaits you is nothing compared to what you've already unleashed." The shadows seemed to convulse as he spoke, threatening to consume them, to strip the last vestiges of safety from their clutches. Clara's heart raced with the urgency of escape, but as panic subsided to adrenaline, she felt a rising sense of clarity. They had to fight. They had to survive. "Get down," Clara shouted, diving toward Noah as the man raised his gun. A deafening crack filled the air. Was it a bullet? Clara's heart stopped. Suddenly, the kitchen erupted into chaos, a flurry of movement. As Clara tumbled onto the floor, something dark surged through the doorway, twisting the scene into a horrifying tableau. The laughter returned, louder now, filled with triumph. They were now caught in a deadly game, and the stakes had never been higher. Suddenly, she realized they hadn't just unleashed a physical threat. They had awoken something much darker. And it was hunting them. What had they really awakened in this cursed mansion? Clara's body hit the cold kitchen tiles as she instinctively shielded herself. She held her breath, every nerve electrified by fear. The sound of the gunshot lingered, echoing in her mind like an unending drum roll. Was she hit? Was Noah? Had the man actually fired? But as the dust settled, a new sound emerged, one that sent icy fingers up Clara's spine. A gurgling, throaty groan rose from Olivia, who had rolled on her back. The moment felt surreal, like a dream that twisted horror into reality. Clara's heart raged, each beat quickening with the weight of their predicament. "Noah," she whispered, her voice shaky. "I'm right here." He scrambled beside her, eyes wide with panic, scanning the room with reckless urgency. "What was that?" she hissed, straining her ears, trying to drown out Olivia's jagged breaths. "I don't know, but we can't waste time." With fierce determination, Noah grabbed Clara's arm and started to pull her toward a nearby door. But Olivia was still moaning, trapped in her own hell. "Help me," she choked out, eyes filled with terror. But it was as if Clara could see right through her. The connection was tainted, severed in ways they couldn't comprehend. "Noah, we can't leave her." Clara broke away, the word "can't" heavy with a mix of loyalty and dread. "She is not Olivia anymore. We're in too deep," he argued, eyes darting anxiously around, sensing danger in every shadow. The stranger moved closer, his presence an oppressive blanket immobilizing them. What a touching reunion. "But time wastes, and so does your precious friend," he taunted, bringing the gun into the light. Clara felt sick. "Noah, we have to help her," she pleaded, but deep down, doubt crept in. Was Olivia still the same girl they had known, or something perverse and wrong? "No." Noah's voice was harsh, cutting through the noise. "We can't be heroes. Look what has happened. We need to survive." A high-pitched scream pierced her thoughts, Seemingly from all directions the walls vibrated with its intensity. It was not just Olivia, but an accumulation of anguish, a haunting blend of past sorrows that pooled inside that wretched mansion. Noah. Clara's voice cracked, her inner resolve splintering. I can't just leave her. In a swift motion, the stranger lunged, gun aimed straight for Noah, who instinctively stepped forward. No! Clara shouted, her body moving before her brain could catch up. Noah! She shoved him aside, the gunfire erupting once again. This time, clarity struck. The bullet whistled past them, mere inches away. It didn't strike Noah, but rather shattered a pane of glass behind him, the shards scattering like confetti. The laughter crescendoed. Without thinking, Clara moved. She crawled toward Olivia, ignoring the swirling chaos around her. Olivia, hold on. With trembling hands, she grasped Olivia's, feeling the heat radiate through her palm mixed with a cold sweat. But rather than looking back, Clara felt an unnatural force pulling her deeper. It was as if the mansion itself were alive, breathing around them, urging them to surrender. Olivia, what has happened? Clara shouted, hoping for a shred of acknowledgement. But Olivia simply stared at her, her face twisted in pain, yet her eyes flickered with something darker. You have to understand it's too late. We can't remain not in this hell. The walls trembled, revealing scenes of nightmares past, shadowy figures flickering through time, moments lost, lives fading. It was a montage of despair, and the laughter heightened, turning from jovial to sinister. Noah grabbed Clara, hoisting her as the darkness threatened to swallow them whole. Come on, now! But the floor shook beneath them, a final warning that in that moment, Clara caught a glimpse of Olivia, the light in her eyes dimming, swallowed by the dark. A truth crashed down upon her. Whatever darkness roamed this mansion had taken hold, and they had merely become pieces on its twisted board. As they stumbled toward the door, Clara felt an electric pulse shoot through her. It resonated with a sense of something yet to come, an untold horror waiting just beneath the surface. Just as they reached the threshold, a loud crash echoed behind them, and Clara turned one last time to see the walls ripple and convulse as shadows merged into a more substantial form. Time to play the real game, a voice murmured, slithering through the air as everything went black. What had they truly awakened, and would they ever find a way out? As the darkness enveloped them, a cacophony of whispers spiraled around Clara, pulling her into a suffocating void. It felt as though the walls themselves were alive, the air thick with silent screams. Noah's grip on her hand blazed like a lifeline. Clara, he shouted, the sound suddenly truncated as if swallowed by the shadows. With a rush, the world around them shifted. Color erupted, blaring lights, and vivid images blasting through the blackness. Clara found herself standing in a hallway, damp and cold, walls soaked with a grotesque history. Flickering fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, creating a surreal and maddening atmosphere. She blinked hard, trying to shake the haze from her mind. Noah? She called hesitantly, her voice trembling in the silence. Clara? His voice echoed back, but it drifted, almost like it didn't come from the same reality. Just as panic surged through her, a flash pierced the shadows. A figure cloaked in darkness materialized ahead. Clara could just make out a twisted smile beneath the brim of a wide hat. Ah, the little lost lamb finds herself a bit too far from home, the figure crooned, the tone oily and mocking. Who are you? Clara demanded, her heart pounding fiercely against her ribcage. Someone who knows all too well what it means to be trapped. The figure hissed, arms outstretched, fingers curling like talons. This place, it fills itself with fear, with regret. All the broken pieces that no one dares to collect. Behind her, Clara sensed a shift. The shadows flared ominously. Olivia's face flickered in her mind, twisted and pained. The weight of her pleas lingered like a ghost. I want to leave anyone behind, Clara whispered to herself, summoning courage despite the encroaching terror. Leave? Oh, darling. The figure chuckled, the sound reverberating off the walls. It's not about merely leaving. It's about confronting what you are, who you're meant to be. Clara clenched her fists. What do you mean? See for yourself. With a snap of the figure's fingers, Clara was thrust into a vision that rippled around her. She saw scenes of Noah and Olivia's friendship, their laughter painting over the memories. Yet alongside that, darker visions unfolded betrayals, whispered secrets that twisted into malice. A sharper image hit her, a confrontation, shadows pouring over old grudges. No, that's not possible, Clara gasped, feeling the ground shift beneath her as past pains surged to the surface. Oh, but it is, my dear, the figure rasped, inching closer. Every monster has its origin, every heart its sin. You see, this mansion, it knows your truths. It holds them tighter than your own embrace. Suddenly, Noah appeared beside her, breathless and wide-eyed. Clara, what is happening? We're trapped in a nightmare. Clara shouted, breath catching in her throat. We need to find a way out. Noah replied, fear threading his voice. But before they could move, the figure stepped in front of them, eyes glowing like hot coals. What makes you think you can escape without facing the truth? It taunted. You've awakened the darkness. Now it's time to play. As Clara stood, heart racing, she felt the ground below quaver once more, shifting between layers of reality. Time was slipping, and shadows closed in, hungry for their fears. Noah, we have to fight this, she cried, gripping his hand. That a sinister laugh echoed as the walls began to close in, twisting and shifting. Face your fears or become part of mine. With each heartbeat, the darkness drew nearer. Clara felt the energy crackling at her fingertips, a strange warmth igniting within her. But would it be enough to shatter the suffocating grip of their haunted pasts? The mansion throbbed, a silent heartbeat pulling them deeper into its abyss. Hold on, she shouted, desperate. But as the shadows reached for them, Clara couldn't help but wonder. Would they find the strength to overcome their darkest fears, or were they destined to be devoured by the very horrors they sought to escape? The shadows surged, and everything went black again, leaving only a lingering question echoing in the depths of her mind. Would they emerge from the darkness, or were these horrors merely a prelude to something far worse? Clara's scream faded into the void, swallowed by the gnashing shadows surrounding them. A slow realization washed over her. This wasn't just darkness, it was alive. Noah's hand, still gripping hers, began to feel cold, as if his warmth was being drawn away. Clara, Noah's voice pierced the thick veil, desperation clawing through it. Stay with me. Panic surged in her heart as her surroundings morphed again. The walls rippled like a disturbed pond, creating dizzying patterns of light and shadow. The tension between her and the cloaked figure tightened like a noose, a palpable weight threatening to crush them. What do you want from us? Clara shouted, pushing the fear down, battling against the suffocating atmosphere. The figure laughed softly, each chuckle resonating with the echoes of their past. I want nothing more than for you to see, dear Clara, to understand the depths of your sorrow, to peel back the layers of deceit that bind you. Noah, Clara whispered, looking into his frightened eyes. What if this is more than just a nightmare? What if it's real? Don't say that. We've gotten through worse, he insisted, the defiance in his tone mingling with fear. We can fight it. Before he could finish, the walls trembled violently. Dark tendrils snaked along the floor, twisting around their ankles like serpents. They pulled at Clara, dragging her away from Noah, his grip slackening. No, she screamed, her heart racing as she fought against the shadows. Hold on to me, Noah shouted, desperation giving him strength. He yanked her back, and their hands clutched each other fiercely. The shadows screamed now, a cacophony of anguish and rage echoing in their ears, shattering their resolve. The figure stepped closer, its face obscured by darkness, but Clara could sense the hungry gaze directed at her. You can't escape, little lamb. You're entangled in a web of your own making. Web? What do you mean? Clara demanded, breathless as the shadows swirled around them, almost as if they were feeding on her fear. Do you not remember? The betrayal, the lies. They have consequences. The figure leaned closer, its breath cold against her skin. And now you must pay for them. Clara's mind raced. Betrayal? The word struck like lightning. Fortune twisted into betrayal often leaves an indelible mark. In that split second, memories of heated arguments, old grudges, and unresolved conflicts roared back, crashing into her thoughts like a flood. She saw flashes of Olivia, her anguished face, pleading eyes, and then darkness. Noah, she cried out. It's about Olivia. I should have been there. I should have done something. Yes, but you didn't. The figure hissed, relishing her anguish. And now, she suffers because of it. No, I refuse to believe this. I can fix this, Clara insisted, pulling Noah closer. The energy crackled at her fingertips again, a surge of warmth and rage coursing through her. We can take back control. With newfound determination, Clara shouted, No more. I am not defined by my pain or my fears. The shadows recoiled, sensing her strength. The figure faltered, eyes narrowing. What makes you think you stand a chance? Because I choose to fight, Clara declared, as her voice echoed through the darkness. Light burst from her fingertips, illuminating the hallway and burning the shadows that clung to them. Clara, Noah gasped, and concern mingling in his voice. But just as hope flickered, the figure let out a chilling scream, plunging them back into chaos, a maelstrom of light and dark overlapping until the world spun wildly. Face the truth, Clara. Whether you embrace it or deny it, the mansion of horrors will reveal what you truly fear. The floor dropped away, and they hung in the air, suspended between light and darkness. Clara's heart raced as she felt gravity lose its grip, the weight of her past threatening to pull her down. Stay strong, Noah shouted, reaching for her again as the abyss loomed beneath them. In that moment, Clara locked her eyes with Noah's. She felt an unbreakable bond, a shared strength. But as they hung on the precipice, Clara couldn't shake the feeling that something worse was lurking, waiting beneath the surface. Would they find the truth needed to escape, or plunge headfirst into the horror that awaited them? With a deafening roar, the darkness surged forward, and Clara braced herself for impact, each breath echoing with uncertainty and fear. Would they emerge from this nightmare, or be consumed by the very shadows they sought to conquer? The moment the darkness surged, a chilling silence enveloped them, followed by a scream that tore through the void. Clara's lungs felt heavy, as if the shadows themselves weighed her down. She couldn't fight it. Panic clawed at her throat, but before she could succumb, a rush of adrenaline surged like liquid fire through her veins. Noah, she screamed as the ground twisted and dissolved beneath them. Clara, I'm right here, he cried back, his voice breaking through the chaos like a lifeline. Just then, everything shifted. Clara found herself standing in a familiar, dimly lit hall. The walls were adorned with pictures of moments long past, faces smiling, unaware of the impending doom. A chill crawled down her spine, not from the cold, but from the weight of those memories. She could see Olivia's face in one of the pictures, glowing with joy, and then it shifted again, morphing into the anguished expression she'd seen just moments earlier. No, Clara whispered, terrified. This can't be happening. What did you do, Clara? How could you? The cloaked figure's voice penetrated her thoughts, laced with bitterness. Its presence seeped into the room, swirling like smoke. You've led her to the edge. You let your friends suffer while you smile for the world. Stop it, Clara shouted, shaking with fury and guilt. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. But the figure only laughed, a low, grating sound. Intentions matter little when the heart is full of deceit. You think you can undo your past? Noah, we need to find Olivia, Clara insisted, urgency driving each word. She needs us. Does she? The figure taunted, fading into the shadows. Or have you already turned your back? When the truth reveals itself, You may wish for a way to turn back time. Suddenly, one of the pictures flickered violently, and Clara stumbled forward. She blinked, and time seemed to dissolve around her. With every heartbeat, fragments of memories poured into her consciousness: the arguments with Olivia, the secrets they shared, the lies that buried their friendship. "No, I want tea, let this consume me," Clara exclaimed, clenching her fists until her nails bit into her palms. "I have to find her, and I have to make this right. Noah, fight with me," she urged, feeling their bond reignite. "I'm with you," he said, determination shining through his own fear. Together, the walls trembled, and Clara's resolve solidified. She could almost feel Olivia's presence, her warmth, her laughter, but it rapidly turned cold and distant. Clara stepped closer to Noah, the chill of regret creeping in as shadows flicked around them. She became aware of the cost of their journey, of what might have been lost forever. "Maybe I hoped for too much," she murmured, her heart pounding against her ribcage. "The truth can sting, Clara, but it can also heal," Noah replied, his eyes shining with courage. With a shared breath, they stepped forward together into the depths of the hall. Just as they made their move, the cloaked figure reemerged, blocking their path. Its voice dripped with malice. "You think you deserve redemption? You think you can outrun your shadows? I want you back down," Clara shouted, feeling the flicker of power rise in her. "I am my choices. My pain doesn't define me." The walls shuddered, and light poured from Clara's fingertips, igniting the darkness around them. Desperate to cling to this hope, she lunged forward, and together they pushed through the barrier the figure created. "Clara!" Noah's shout echoed again, but this time filled with a sense of urgency and impending consequence. "It's not just Olivia we have to face." As the light surged forward, Clara felt a sharp, piercing sensation seize her heart, slicing through her every thought. She froze, realizing with dawning horror that the shadows weren't just the result of her past, they were alive. They hungered for the painful pieces of her heart. "Can you face your truth?" the figure hissed, sliding closer as the air crackled with tension. "No," she screamed, wrestling against the suffocating grip. Just then, reality splintered, shaking everything into chaos again. Clara felt herself slipping, her voice shattered by the darkness pulling her back, a haunting whisper filling her mind. "You cannot escape yourself, you must choose." Before she could respond, the floor beneath her jolted, the world spinning violently. Clara and Noah were torn apart, the darkness closing in around them. Alone, Clara gasped for air amid the swirling chaos. Fear paralyzed her. How could she ever find Olivia? What more would she have to face? Will Clara and Noah find each other? Were they doomed to wander forever in the shadowy depths of their own making? Clara regained her footing, the world spinning like a broken carousel. Her heart raced as she tried to steady her breath, but the shadows whispered around her, pulling at the edges of her sanity. She couldn't feel Noah anymore. Panic surged as she turned in circles, trying to find any trace of him. "Noah!" she screamed, her voice echoing in the hollow space, swallowed by the immense darkness that flickered at the edges of her vision. She felt utterly alone. Just then, the shadows around her twisted, forming shapes that beckoned her closer. Clara took a step back, every hair on her body standing on end. They morphed into familiar figures, friendships, memories, laughs that had crumbled into silence. Olivia stood before her, a mirage of pain and betrayal gleaming in her eyes. "What have you done?" Olivia's voice was a haunting whisper, laced with agony. "Why did you leave me, Clara? I tried to help." Clara's voice broke, the weight of guilt pressing down like a leaden blanket. "I thought I could save us both. You think your intentions matter?" Olivia's form flickered like a flame about to be snuffed out. "You left me to drown, just like everyone else." The shadows surged forward, weaving through Clara's mind, dragging her back to the bitter moments during their friendship. The fights over petty things, secrets that built walls between them, and the last argument that ended everything. Regret coiled around her heart like a snake. "Stop!" This isn't real, Clara shouted, tears streaming down her face. You're not my enemy, Olivia. But Olivia faded, replaced by the cloaked figure, its voice consuming her thoughts like a predator. What will it take, Clara? What will it take to face your true self? It stepped in closer, the air suffocating, thick with despair. You wanted to forget the choices that brought you here. You can't run from the shadows formed by your own selfishness. No, I won't let you manipulate me. Clara yelled back, her fists clenching in defiance. The darkness seemed to ripple at her words, pulsating with energy. With a newfound determination, Clara steadied herself, drawing in a breath. I'm not just my mistakes. I can make things right. The walls trembled as light began to flicker at her fingertips once more. Clara let the light grow, brightening the space around her, illuminating the dark faces of her past. I forgive myself. I can face what I've done. With a powerful surge, she thrust the light toward the shadows, scattering them like a blinding storm. A gasp escaped her lips as she felt a familiar presence return Noah. Clara, he cried out, stumbling toward her. You're here. Relief washed over Clara, but it quickly twisted into dread as the figure lunged forward, its voice a growl. You can't escape the truth, Clara. The more you shine, the more the darkness will fight back. Suddenly, Clara felt the air shift. The shadows were regrouping, angrier now, more desperate to cling to her despair. She could sense their hunger, but she wouldn't let them consume her. Not again. Noah, we have to face this together. We can't let it tear us apart. She shouted, reinforcing their bond with every word that he nodded, his gaze steadying her resolve as they stood shoulder to shoulder against the encroaching darkness. Together, he echoed, and for a split second, the light they emanated flickered brighter. But just as the shadows recoiled, an earth-shattering roar erupted from the depths behind the figure, a primal scream that sent shockwaves through Clara's very core. What was that? Noah gasped, eyes wide with fear. Clara's heart raced again, pounding against her chest as she stood frozen. The shadows were pulling away, revealing a gate behind them, pulsating with an ominous glow. What if it leads to Olivia? Clara whispered, torn between hope and fear. They could almost feel her pain reaching out. No, what if it leads to the truth we're not ready to face? Noah countered, and Clara felt the weight of his words settle grimly in her stomach. But was there any other choice? As the shadows loomed closer, Clara took a deep breath. Let's go, she said, steeling herself. Together, we'll face it. As they took their first step toward the glowing gate, a deafening roar erupted again, echoing through the hall, a warning for what lay ahead. Would they be ready to confront the dark truth waiting just beyond? The bright glow of the gate enveloped Clara and Noah as they stepped through, dragging them into a realm where time and space melted away. A landscape of swirling colors and fractured realities greeted them, like pages torn from a storybook, cast adrift in chaos. Each step felt heavy, the air thick with suspense, as if 1,000 eyes were watching, waiting. Where are we? Clara whispered, her voice barely breaking the stillness. The atmosphere buzzed with an electric tension, amplifying her fears. Noah clenched her hand tighter. I think this is the heart of everything, the place where the truth resides. In the distance, a faint cry resonated, a chilling sound, laced with anguish and despair. It pulled Clara forward, a magnetic force urging her to confront what she had avoided for far too long. Olivia, she breathed, the name a plea. Ahead, shadows twisted into shapes that flickered like memories just out of reach. Clara could see glimpses of Olivia, flashes of their friendship glittering within the murky depths. But beneath the laughter, shadows of betrayal and grief lingered, dark reminders of her past choices and their consequences. No, Clara gasped, fighting against the creeping dread. This isn't just about the past. We have to save her. Noah's expression was a mixture of concern and determination. We can't forget ourselves in the process. Let us not get lost in this again. With renewed resolve, they pushed forward, navigating through the chaotic realm of twisted emotions. Each step was anchored by the hope of finding Olivia, but the storm of their fears threatened to engulf them as they neared the core. The landscape shifted violently, revealing Olivia at the center, a fractured figure bound by shadows, her once bright essence darkened by despair. Clara's heart ached at the sight. "Olivia," Clara called, reaching out, desperation lining every syllable. "I told you to run," Olivia rasped, her voice barely a whisper, cracked with pain. "But you didn't. You're trapped like me now. No, I can't lose you. We can get through this together," Clara cried, the truth of her mistakes cascading through her like a mighty wave. "I was always in the shadows. I trusted you to be there. Why weren't you?" Olivia's form flickered as tears fell from her eyes like shards of glass. "Because I was scared," Clara shouted, the rawness of her emotions spilling out. "But I'm here now. We can face everything together." "No," Olivia's voice came through twisted, burdened with sorrow. "It's too late for me." "No, it's not too late," Clara insisted, pushing through the pain that caged them all. "You deserve to live, to be free of this torment that binds you." A tempest brewed, shadows swirling faster as they hissed and mocked. "You think words can save her?" The figure from earlier sneered, re-emerging among the chaos. "No, it's us who must face the truth," Clara shouted defiantly. "Olivia, I need to know how to help you. I need your strength." The shadows recoiled as the light radiated from Clara and Noah, pushing back the consuming darkness. In that moment of clarity, Olivia's pain shifted. Her eyes brightened, revealing a glimmer of hope. "You can let go of me, Clara. You don't need to carry my burden." "No," Clara's voice rang out, more powerful than before. "I want to abandon you. We are friends, and friends fight for each other." With that, Clara stepped forward, embracing Olivia, pulling her into the radiant light they had created. "Noah," Clara shouted, "join me." Noah rushed in, wrapping his arms around both women. The shadows writhed in protest. "Together," he said, anchoring them in their shared purpose. The merge of their hopes, their fears, created a blinding light that pierced through the shadows. Clara felt the darkness dissipate, their collective strength shattering the chains that bound them. The shadows shrieked and howled, losing their grip, retreating like a tide. As the chaos swirled away, Clara found herself standing in a golden light, the darkness no longer a looming threat. Olivia stood quite visibly, free and unharmed, tears streaming down her face, but this time, filled with gratitude. "You came for me," she whispered, her voice warm with appreciation. "Always," Clara replied, relief flooding through her. Noah smiled, stepping back from the embrace. "We're together now, and that's what truly matters." In that moment, the weight of guilt, the shadows of despair, began to lift, replaced by a renewed bond forged in bravery. They had faced the terror together and emerged stronger, ready to face whatever lay ahead. The mansion itself seemed to sigh, the air cleansing as dawn broke through windows, illuminating the corridors with warmth. The dark clutches of the past had loosened their grip. With one last glance at the figures that haunted them, Clara turned to Noah and Olivia, resolve sparkling in her eyes. "Let South leave this place behind us and face whatever comes next." Together, they stepped forward, united, leaving behind the shadows and venturing toward new beginnings filled with hope. In the distance, the echo of their laughter intertwined with the dawn. It was a beautiful promise that resonated in the air. Healing could come, even after the darkest places. Now, before you go, subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss out. Your support keeps these stories coming. Smash that like button now. It fuels the algorithm and spreads the love. Pour your thoughts into the comments. What do you think about this epic conclusion? And share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how this thrilling tale ends. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second. Join our journey.